Today, we're diving into a really powerful and kind of counterintuitive idea, the psychology of a private reserve. It's all about what you don't share and why that might just be the secret to your own well-being.
You know, we live in this culture that's constantly telling us to be transparent, be vulnerable, share every little thing, be an open book, right? But what if that advice is actually working against you? What if holding a few things back isn't about being secretive, but about being, well, strategic? So here's the big idea we're going to unpack. Oversharing isn't just a social oopsie, it has real psychological consequences. It can actually make your brain feel like it's losing control, which, as it turns out, is a direct line to feeling anxious. Let's break down exactly how that happens.
Okay, let's start with something we're all encouraged to share, our deepest insecurities. We think that talking about them is going to bring this huge sense of relief, but a lot of the time, we're just falling for something called the cathartic illusion.
So the first rule for building your private reserve is this. You gotta guard your insecurities. Now, I know this sounds completely backwards, doesn't it? We're always told to talk it out. But just sharing your vulnerabilities with anyone and everyone can actually give them way more power over you. And this explains exactly why. The cathartic illusion is this false promise that venting is the same as healing. But when you're constantly talking about an insecurity, you're not really releasing it. You're just rehearsing it. You're carving that negative self-talk deeper into your brain, and you're making that insecurity a bigger and bigger part of who you think you are. You know, this whole idea of a private reserve goes beyond just managing anxiety. As we're about to see, what you choose to share can also become a massive trap for your own personal motivation and your drive to get things done. Which brings us to our second rule, and this one is absolutely crucial for anyone with a big ambition. Keep your big goals quiet. You know that feeling you set an amazing new goal, maybe you're going to run a marathon or start a business, and your first instinct is to tell everybody, right? You want that social validation. But that's exactly where the danger is. Now, the really fascinating part is the neuroscience behind this. Psychologists call it the dopamine trick. See, when you announce your goal and everyone's congratulating you, saying, wow, that's amazing, your brain gets a nice little hit of dopamine. That's the reward chemical. It feels like you've already done something, so your brain gets all the satisfaction without any of the effort, which just sucks the motivation right out of you to do the actual hard work. Next up, let's talk about the perception traps. Because what you share doesn't just affect you on the inside, it completely changes how other people see you and how they interpret pretty much everything you do. Okay, so think about this for rule number 3. You do something genuinely good for someone, just a pure act of kindness. The modern impulse? Post about it, share the good vibes. But the second you do that, you risk falling into a trap. This is what's known as the self-presentation trap. The value of that good deed suddenly shifts. It's not about the act itself anymore, helping someone. It becomes about what the act says about you. It turns into a tool for managing your own image, and that can strip away the authentic, real joy of the act itself. And this lays it out so perfectly. Shared kindness starts to feel transactional. It becomes about you. But private kindness, that stays authentic. The joy is all yours, on the inside, and the focus stays exactly where it should be, on the person you helped. This leads us right into another perception trap, one that is a total social minefield: money. Whether you have a lot or a little, the rule is pretty much the same. It's probably best to keep your financial status private. And here's why. It's called status perception bias. The moment you put a number on your financial situation, you're basically inviting judgment. If you have more, you might get envy or even resentment. If you have less, you might get pity or people talking down to you. Either way, it creates this weird dynamic of comparison that can subtly poison even your best relationships. All right, now for our final section, and honestly, this one might be the most fascinating of all: protecting your past. This is about how the act of sharing your stories can literally, physically change your memories. And that leads us to our 5th rule: keep your family problems private. Now, to be clear, we're not talking about seeking professional help. That is absolutely crucial. We're talking about casually retelling sensitive family stories to friends or acquaintances, because every time you do, you risk changing that memory for good. This process, which you can see laid out here, is called memory reconsolidation. It's wild. It works like this. You have a memory, you retell it, the person listening reacts, maybe they're shocked or they pity you or they judge the situation. Your brain then resaves that memory, but this time it bundles their emotional reaction right in there with it.
So the memory isn't pure anymore. It's now colored by their feelings, which often makes it feel heavier and more painful than it was to begin with.
So, what does this all add up to? It's all about building your private reserve. And again, this is not about hiding who you are. It's about understanding the incredible power of strategic privacy.
So let's do a super quick recap. By keeping your insecurities private, you avoid that cathartic illusion. By keeping your goals quiet, you dodge the dopamine trick. When you keep your kindness to yourself, you sidestep the self-presentation trap. By not discussing your finances, you neutralize status perception bias. And by guarding those family issues, you prevent that harmful memory reconsolidation.
And this is really the core takeaway. This whole thing isn't about building walls or being dishonest. It's about protecting this sacred internal space where your motivation can actually grow, your good deeds can stay pure, and your memories can remain your own. When you think about it, it's a really powerful act of self-preservation. So I'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. In a world that seems to reward us for constant sharing, with likes and comments and all this attention, what is the real, lasting value of the things you choose to keep just for yourself?